This video is going to be a little different than the others I have posted. The initial plan for this video was going to be just spotlighting XP to level 3's Fallout system, and just going to be going through it all. But Jacob kind of has already done that, which if you do want to take a look, I'll put his video up above and in the description down below. And while you're down there, why not click that subscribe button along the way? So instead of a straight spotlight, I'm going to talk about the game I ran for my players, and along the way, talk about this system and what I like, and some things that I like a little less. But before any of that, let's set some context. So around July 2021, don't know exactly when he created the system, but that's the date of the first public game using it, the channel XP to level 3/Jacob made a Fallout TTRPG system to run on one of his other channels, Arcane Arcade. And to sum up, the system is similar to Pathfinder, D&D, and other D20 systems in the sense that it uses a D20 for a lot of its roles. But it is different in many other factors that align it more closely to the Fallout games that it is based on. So when I saw this system, I wanted to run it for my players that I DM/GM in all of my games. So after finishing our long-running second campaign, I started my prep work, they made characters, and began our session. This is how it turned out. Start. Let's talk about the party, which for one last bit of context, the only players that had extensive knowledge of Fallout were me and the ghoul character I will bring up later. Everyone else had zero to minimal knowledge of Fallout, so things vary from normal to wacky. Let's start with the most normal. A human wastelander named Ash, who is basically your bog-standard wastelander, got some guns, wants caps, and willing to do whatever it takes to get those caps. Next is the ghoul character I talked about, whose name is Lori. They were a Vault Dweller doctor who became ghoulified and started eating people. In particular, their signature weapon is the Ripper, which helps facilitate that desire of theirs. Now this is where it starts to get a little weird. The next character is called Y35M4N, which, yes, for those who are aware, is supposed to be a version of Yes Man, which in the system, they are a Gen 2 synth, who is a mercenary, and a popular one at that, since they cannot say no. Lastly, and probably the most wacky of them all, is Delta Theta 3, also a Gen 2 synth, although much closer to human-like features similar to a Gen 3, but not as much, and I think you can tell based on the picture, they based their character around the gender-bent Data from Star Trek. I did say it was going to get a bit weird, and yeah, maybe it breaks some sort of immersion, but it's my game and they found it fun, so it's okay in my book. So with that, they were gathered together to get the platinum chip before the courier from New Vegas ever got it. Since when I did my prep, I only mentioned a location that it was found, but not how the chip was found. So I decided to base my game around that little gap. So after being briefed by Victor, the party set out to retrieve the chip and found themselves in Sunnyvale, California, which, as they approached, I gave them 3 leads to investigate. One was the factory in the center of town, which in my mind was where the chip was made. Next was a makeshift town that had more buildings than people, and lastly was some smoke in the distance, which was where the vault would be located. Now, most circumstances when I played with my group, they would usually meander about, and I thought they would go for the town or even straight to the factory off the rip. Not this time, though. Breaking stereotypical player habits, they went straight towards the plot. Once the players arrived at the fire, which turned out to be just a tire fire, they investigated and found tracks that lead into a parking garage, that eventually led into a vault. Vault 42. With the help of Lori, they managed to get into the vault, in which the next part of the adventure began. Upon entering the vault, they are greeted by heavily armored raiders who, after the briefest conversation, begin combat, which is where we will go into some of the game systems that this system does. So combat is very different in this system compared to other TTRPGs of its ilk. Firstly, initiative or combat sequence, as it is called here, is determined by perception, not too dissimilar to Pathfinder, and then actions in the sequence are made with action points, which is determined by their agility modifier, which is 10 plus their modifier, and depending on the action, they can spend a number of action points equal to it. Let's say Lori wanted to move in closer to use their Ripper, and they had 12 action points to move within 5 feet of one of these raiders. They would spend 6 of those action points to move within 30 feet within the target. With those 6 points left, they could then spend 3 points to attack them once, and if they want to, they can spend another 3 to attack them again. Or they can save those 3 points to get more next round. I personally really like this system since it does give an incredible amount of freedom on what you want to do based on your turn, and not limited to action, bonus action movement, or even Pathfinder's 3 action-based system. So with that, the party fights these raiders, and after taking some blows back and forth, they continue forward and explore the rest of the vault, in search of the platinum chip, and discovering what the vault was all about. The vault experiment was based around seeing how well a vault could be run with inexperienced management alongside unhinged and all-out dangerous individuals in positions of power, which as expected didn't turn out well for the inhabitants of the vault. So here comes one of the next systems that this game has, which is the looting and exploration, which maybe I just didn't quite understand, but the random loot for me was a little hard to understand, more so with how the luck rolls worked. Since on the table it goes all the way to 30 plus, and unless I'm missing something, even on a natural 20 on the die, it can't go above a 25 with luck, since a 10 luck would get a +5 modifier. Granted, they probably missed something obvious in the book that mentions this, but anyways. The party then continues forward through the vault, killing more raiders as they go, until they reach the Overseer's office and find the main raider, which hanging on his side is the Platinum Chip. So after taking him out, they grab the Platinum Chip and head back to see Victor, which upon arrival, the Yes Man character begins denying that they even have the chip, in what I assume is a method of trying to get themselves killed. But the others rat out on them, and Victor then shoots Yes Man, giving the party the rest of their caps, including Yes Man's share. And with that, we ended the session. So, my overall thoughts of the system are positive. I love the action point systems, and honestly, nothing else too specific, but just in general how the system really captures the world of Fallout. Because there are systems for the sake of the two-shot that I had to omit, including radiation. Probably could have included this one, but I just didn't come up with a situation at the time. Survival mechanics like food and water and weapon decay, all of which in one way or another are all mechanics within the Fallout games. The only two negatives, which aren't too much of a slight against the system itself, but just specifically how I ran it, it's particularly difficult to run the game on Foundry. I made it work, but it just isn't easy to get everything to work together nicely. Probably one of the few times I probably should have just used Roll20 instead. Second is that the overall book does explain things well, and it might just be my peanut brain speaking here, but there were a couple times that the book is very loose with its rules where I wish it wasn't. Which, granted, is probably by design, and honestly, probably is. But if you're a fan of Fallout and want to play a TTRPG in this world, I would recommend at least taking a look at Jacob's Fallout system. I will leave a link to his Patreon that has it, which is free to anyone to look at. I hope you enjoyed this very different video of mine. If you would like to see more videos like this, please let me know in the comments below, and give this video a like to show the algorithm as well. If you want to see more in the world of TTRPGs, why not check out one of these videos? Bye for now.